Every day, Ameren, Illinois works to deliver reliable energy throughout the state to on-the-go families, in-the-know grandparents, and busy students. But did you know we also have ways to manage your energy? Paperless billing, outage notifications, pick a due date, auto pay, and so much more. So no matter who you are or how you use your energy, there's an option that's right for you. Learn more at amerenillinois.com/options.
Hey everyone, welcome on in to Huddle Up with Howard. I am Joe Roderick in for Mike Claiborne this week. And of course, you all know Howard Richards of Mizzou football and former NFL offensive lineman. Howard, how you doing, man?
Joe, I'm doing great, man. It's good to talk to you. It's been a while.
It has been a while since we've been able to connect, but I know this is your time of year. I mean, it's been cold this week. It's football weather. You're a few games into that Mizzou season. You have got to be loving life right now.
I am. And you mentioned the weather this week. I was out cutting my grass on Tuesday, I guess it was, Tuesday, and it was spectacular. I mean, probably high 60s, low 70s. But just beautiful sunny weather, and it makes you just want to be outside. And this time of year, I feel like I can still strap it on. I can smell the grass. I can hear the fans yelling. I want to run out there myself. A little bit too old for that these days, though.
So Mizzou, you're up in Boston right now. So I guess we need a weather forecast for this weekend for people that might be traveling out there for Saturday's game, or just looking at maybe for wager purposes, knowing what they're going to be dealing with. How are things out there in New England?
It is kind of rainy, drizzly right now. I think for tomorrow the high will be, probably 72 degrees. Ideal weather for the most part. Only a 30% chance of rain, so we should be good by the time this noon kickoff rolls around.
What are your thoughts when you see Mizzou scheduling a school like Boston College? It's not one of those teams that you expect to go out there and blow out. It's not a 1AA or an FCS team that's on the schedule. You're actually getting a team from a good conference, and it's kind of a test to show where you line up with some of those other conferences out of the SEC. What can you tell us about this Boston College team and the Eagles?
So they're from the ACC, which if you're not Clemson, then you don't probably get nearly as much respect as everyone else in this conference. BC is a team on the rise. Their new head coach, Jeff Hafley, actually started the same year as Eli Drinkwitz. They were 6-5 last year, and I think he, of maybe the history of Boston College football, had the best record for a brand new football coach. So this guy's got NFL experience. He came directly to BC from Ohio State, where he ran the defense, and they had improved drastically when he took over as defensive coordinator at Ohio State. So listen, he knows how to coordinate defenses. He knows how to run a team. He's learned from Ryan Day. So I expect that his team will be fully prepared, regardless of the fact that it's an ACC matchup versus SEC. I don't think he matters. He wants his team to go out and play well, as does Coach Drinkwitz. He wants his team to play well, especially defensively, where Mizzou has not looked sharp at all this year, especially against the run. So it's for Mizzou, defensively, they've got to come out and play with a chip on their shoulder to prove that they're not, the team that is – 114th out of like 130 FBS teams on total defense. Not very good.
As you look at this Mizzou team so far through 3 weeks of the season, how much of that playbook have we seen opened up? How much of the potential of this Mizzou team have we seen through 3 weeks?
Offensively, I would say the playbook probably has an infinite cover, if you will. I think what Drinkwitz does, instead of a typical bound playbook, a 3-ring binder playbook, which now players have loaded onto iPads, it's just got pages and pages, and he develops new plays throughout the week based on what he sees from the opponents. And I think, if you just looked at what Missouri did against Kentucky, even though we gave up so many yards on the ground defensively, offensively, this team was in the game, had a chance to win it. if not for one key interception and a few other little breaks on the field. Mizzou's in that game on the road in a hostile environment. I think the team learned from that experience being on the road. And I just hope that, from the improvement that they made last week, even though it was against SEMO, that they're will be much more prepared for this type of environment in a new stadium, here on the East Coast, in a non-regional game that players aren't really familiar with, especially for the young guys. So this is an experience, I think, that, as you preach and teach your players, when you hit that field, you got to be ready, from opening kickoff to the final gun, from play to play, series to series, quarter to quarter. You got to be on. You have to bring your A game if you expect to win games like this.
I know earlier this week, Coach Drinkwitz mentioned on his radio show that freshman running back Michael Cox was going to get a lot more touches in the game. And I know you were tweeting about it, that this is a guy that you are really excited to see what he brings to the table. Had a good game against SEMO with 77 yards rushing. How much do you expect to see him in the game plan this Saturday?
Well, I think when your coach says that you've earned the right to get more carries, I would expect to see him at early opportunities, to spell Tyler Beatty. And I don't know if that means Elijah Young isn't going to get the same carries he's been getting, or maybe they just figure out a way to get Cox into the rotation. But I mentioned to my broadcast partner, Mike Kelly, going back to the spring game when the basketball team was in Indiana. I said, you got to see this guy, 35, Cox. Big. He probably goes 6 feet, 2 1/4. It kind of runs like Larry Roundtree, but smoother and harder, I think. It just seems so effortless. And he took off on that long run. No one's going to catch him. I didn't realize his speed was really that good, but he's a guy that can go inside with the ball. He can run it outside, and he breaks tackles. So I'm really anxious to see him getting more carries in an actual game to see what he can really do. Kind of an unheralded guy out of Atlanta, Georgia, which, based on what I've seen, I'm surprised that he didn't have more offers.
Is this your first visit to Boston College?
First visit to Boston College, but not to the area. I've been here several times. When I was a rookie with the Cowboys, we actually played the Patriots, but over in Foxborough. But I've over the years through work, when I was at CIA, we used to come up to Harvard, to the Kennedy School of Government. So, and I've been up here for a number of things with Harvard University and Boston University, doing some concussion protocol testing. But I like the city. It's amazing. I don't know that I'd want to live here. Traffic is horrendous. But you've got to love the culture. You got to, the food. Of course, the beer is pretty spectacular. So it's a fun area. It's a fun place to visit. And I think if people are looking for something different, especially when the weather's not too bad, Boston's not a bad place to be.
So it's the 2-1 Mizzou Tigers taking on the 3-0 Boston College Eagles. But outside of that, in the world of college football, some good games on the schedule this week. Number 16 Arkansas taking on Texas A&M in Jerry's place at AT&T Stadium. So Jerry Jones, the former Razorback, has brought his alma mater into his stadium to play the local team of Texas A&M. That's got to be just fun for all the players involved to get to go to that stadium and play in that environment for a conference game too.
For a conference game that really matters early in the season. And it's amazing how Jerry Jones kind of finagled that. He happened to play football for the Razorbacks back in the day. I think for Darrell Royal, who was college football royalty from back in the day. But I think, this is a matchup of remember the old Southwest Conference? Mm-hmm. Two old Southwest Conference foes. Arkansas and A&M. Arkansas is now, after a good showing against Texas, they're ranked number 16, and A&M is number 7. It'll be interesting to see what A&M does with a new quarterback. Their starting quarterback, as you know, broke a bone in his leg and is out for the season. To see how they adjust. They did struggle in their game last week, only winning by a field goal. And Arkansas is a team that is on the rise. Who their defensive coordinator is Barry Odom, Mizzou's former defensive coordinator and head coach. They're playing pretty well, and offensively they got some weapons. So this will be, a key matchup in the SEC West, just to see where, from Arkansas standpoint, it'll be a good measuring stick. But for Missouri fans, we'll see A&M and Arkansas this year. Where we see A&M, I think the last game that we play before the bye week in October, or something like that. But I just know it's in October. But it'll be fun to really kind of rate what the Aggies are going to do against a Razorback team that we probably know a little bit better than everyone else.
The other big game on the schedule this weekend in college football, also a neutral site game at Soldier Field in Chicago. It is Notre Dame and Wisconsin. If you look at that just from who gets the home field advantage or who might be swaying one way or the other 50-50 crowd-wise, which of those schools do you think travels better to Chicago?
I think you could easily see 50-50. Although, the Badger folks are going to show up, but Notre Dame is notorious for having fans all over the place. And this is an interesting game. If they'd been playing at Wisconsin, I certainly would have picked Wisconsin. I picked Notre Dame, but I'm really reluctant on that pick because, their offense has not been playing well. Their quarterback, Jack Cohen, is, transferred in from Wisconsin, where he was a starter and went 12-6 for the Badgers back in the day. So it'll be certainly an emotional time for him as he faces his old team. Notre Dame hasn't been playing well offensively. I kind of wish I'd gone with Wisconsin, but I did choose Notre Dame. And I hope that the Irish show up because I need to boost myself in the standings. I'm dead last at 6-7. And, Claibs, I can't believe he's leading the pack at 8-5. But, it is what it is. It's a long season, and we have an opportunity to get. See, I picked some risky picks, and I think the picks that I've picked really should have won those games. Otherwise I'd be ahead. However, I'm bringing up the rear, but again, a lot of football left this season.
There you see on the screen right now the standings of our Claibs Online Football Picks presented by each and every week by Kevin Miller of Caldwell Banker Gundaker and Triken Consulting, the leader in pre-employment background investigation in the metro area with more than 50 years of combined experience, that your agency can be certain that your candidate for hire has been fully vetted. You can trust them to provide limited and non-essential information about your candidate's history that could cost your organization thousands of dollars in the long run, whether you are in the private, public, or government sector. Triken Consulting will be there for you. That's triken.net, TRIKEN.net, or find them on Facebook at Triken. That's TRIKEN. And you see, hey, Claibs was ahead by a lot more a week ago. He had a terrible week last week and kind of let all of us come back to the pack there. So it's anybody's ball game right now. And usually I do these picks on Weekend Joe, but this week we moved it over to this show. And the games we went with this week, Howard, as you mentioned, Notre Dame at Wisconsin, Texas A&M at Arkansas, the other game that we've already talked about, and then the 3 NFL games, Bengals at Steelers, Bucks at Rams, Packers at 49ers. If I'm just going to go, instead of reading off who picked all the games of the 7 people we have, I will tell you this, that I am a lone wolf in that NFL game between the Bengals and the Steelers. I'm the only one that's going Bengals in that one. And then Frank Cusimano, a lone wolf for the Buccaneers-Rams game. He's the only – Frank, of all people, is picking the Rams to beat the Buccaneers. I can't believe that.
I don't understand that. Frank must have lost his mind temporarily, because anything with the Rams, he is so anti-Los Angeles, anti-Kroenke, anti-Ram. We'll talk about that. And I hope he's wrong, too. Because we'll never hear the end of it. We'll never hear the end of it if the Rams win. But, that game is an interesting game. Tom Brady, it's just really hard to pick against him.
Yeah.
I think the guy's proven to be the best quarterback of all time. There are many guys that sort of masquerade. You throw out the name like Joe Montana. But listen, Brady, you can't argue with his success. He's got 7 rings. He might need a third hand if the guy continues to play, to put a ring on fingers 11 through 15. But I'm, even though they're playing in Los Angeles, I'm still picking Brady. I don't think he's done yet. I don't think this Bucs team is done yet either. They're still getting familiar with each other. And I think, the sky's the limit as to how far this team really can play. But yeah, I'm sticking with the Bucs. And that Bengals Steelers game, you may be onto something, because with this pectoral injury with Roethlisberger, no one knows how he's going to perform. Are we starting to see the end of his career? I think maybe Sunday will give us an idea if this guy is really becoming more injury prone, at his advanced age as an NFL quarterback, because he's getting banged up more and more, and the periods that he's been out either have really affected his play or have kept him out for a number of games. So this will be interesting. Joe Burrow on the rise with the Bengals, even though he's coming off an ACL injury. He's a guy that's got a really bright future. So this could be a statement game for the Bengals.
And that was kind of my thinking behind it too, with going with the Bengals. And Big Ben has taken just so many beatings in his career. It would not have surprised me if he walked away from the game after last season and called it a career, but he came back for one more. And you got to think that he's done after this year. His body just can't keep taking this over and over again. And it seems like every week, every season, new injuries keep popping up because of the way that he plays.
Yeah, no doubt. Even though he is a big guy, he goes 6'6", probably 250. I mean, he can take a lot more hits that your average size quarterback probably couldn't. And I think that is something that has contributed to his longevity as a quarterback. But again, the body can only take so much punishment. And I don't know what kind of training regimen that Roethlisberger does in the offseason. I don't know if he does similar to what Brady does. Brady's offseason training is well documented, but whatever Brady's doing, he's sort of the gold standard. And I think that that's why he still is able to perform at a high level, because he doesn't really get hurt outside of that one knee injury he had years ago where he missed the whole season. Guy, he just doesn't miss. He shows up every week.
Speaking of quarterbacks, we will see the starting debut of a rookie this weekend. Justin Fields will start for the Bears in their game against the Browns. Your thoughts on what we will see out of the highly touted rookie?
Listen, I think has performed admirably in the opportunities that he's gotten, certainly in the preseason. Obviously, much to learn as an NFL quarterback. But it's interesting, after listening to Matt Nagy, insist that Andy Dalton's a guy, especially early in the season. It makes you wonder if he just kind of succumbed to the pressure of the fans and maybe to the organization to go ahead and start Fields, who is their quarterback of their future. But I want to see how he performs. The offense is, I think they're ready to make a move. His teammates really love him. The guy's extremely talented. And I think once he masters the quarterback position, he's going to be an effective quarterback as long as the Bears surround him with the type of weapons that he needs. But, singularly, the guy can throw it and he can beat you with his legs as well. But interesting young talent for the Bears. And if Bears are going to do anything, it'll be because Justin Fields had a pretty good rookie season.
Howard, before we let you go, just want to remind everybody they can hear you and Mike Kelly on the Tigers broadcast. This too many sports going on right now on the Tigers broadcast this weekend. It's the 11 a.m. Central kickoff out there at Boston College, and your coverage begins what time?
2 hours before, so Central Time it'll start at 9 o'clock.
All right. Hopefully, you guys have a happy flight back here to Missouri after a Mizzou victory on Saturday. Howard, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hey, Joe, great to talk to you, man, and look forward to connecting again.
Absolutely. Hey, he's Howard Richards. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Huddle Up with Howard right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
St. Louis Acura is excited to announce the opening of our newly remodeled service lounge. We sell pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models and take pride in servicing what we sell. We offer free pickup and delivery service and a complimentary car wash and vacuum with every service. We also have a full-service reconditioning shop on site that can repair dents, bumpers, and wheels. As the nation's only 29-time Acura Precision Team winner for customer satisfaction, we work every day to make St. Louis Acura better than ever for you.